This program originates live with the NBC television network.
NBC Sports presents the 1965 World Series. From Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota, the Los Angeles Dodgers meeting the Minnesota Twins. With Vin Scully, welcoming you to Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota, and the second game of the 1965 World Series. In appreciation for your continued support, Chrysler Corporation and the Gillette Safety Razor Company bring you this series and such other outstanding events as the All-Star Baseball Game, NCAA College Football, and the 1965 Rose Bowl Game, exclusively on NBC. As you may have guessed, the weatherman has not been kind. And as one die-hard baseball fan said not long ago, remembering the prediction of yesterday that today's weather would be good for the game, he said of the weatherman, promises, promises, promises. It began to rain about 1 hour after the conclusion of yesterday's game. And in the general area of the Twin Cities, it rained hard much of last evening. It slacked off this morning. And within the last hour or so, there has been no heavy rain, just a series of disturbing drizzles. And just about every means known to a groundskeeping crew has been used to try and get this field in good playing condition. For want of a better phrase, we have decided that that awesome-looking gadget there would be known as a civilian flamethrower. And they have been used from time to time by the ground crew here at Metropolitan Stadium during the regular season to try and get the field in playable condition. Now, a little while ago, the use of a helicopter to try and get the outfield in a much better playing condition than it was when the folks first arrived here, and by way of videotape, we thought you might like to see how a helicopter is used to get a baseball field ready for play. Now, we'll tell you again, over the last hour, the rain here at Metropolitan Stadium has not been a hard rain. It's just been a series of annoying drizzles. In fact, the weatherman has said, as far as the forecast was concerned, that to all outward appearances, the rain should leave. But then, quote, the clouds have shown a tendency to remain in the area. This scene was taped just a bit earlier this morning here at Metropolitan Stadium. As of right now, the game will be played. And as of right now, the weatherman is still optimistic. And so are we. The pitchers for today's game, as announced, and it will be a battle of left-handers. For the Los Angeles Dodgers, the incomparable Sandy Koufax will be pitching. We do not have time at this moment to list all of Sandy's accomplishments this season in aiding the Dodgers to their place in this 1965 World Series. Suffice it to say, at this moment, he won 26 games and lost only 8, and again led the National League, and this is the fourth year in a row he's led the National League, with an earned run average of 2.04. Meanwhile, as Sandy Koufax is warming up in the Dodger bullpen beyond the right center field fence, so is his opponent for today's game. For the Twins, their top winning left-hander in the regular season, Jim Kaat. Kaat won 18 games, lost 11, and compiled a very good earned run average of 2.82. And so for this second game of the 1965 World Series, with the Twins having won the opener yesterday by a score of 8-2, so the starting pitchers are getting ready. The infield is still covered, but we have every expectation, since it is a bit brighter right now and the rain has momentarily stopped, we have every hope that the game will be underway, and if not exactly on time, within a moment or so of the scheduled time of 1 p.m., which is Central Time here in Bloomington, Minnesota. In looking over Sandy Koufax's record for this season. We already mentioned that for the 4th year in a row, he led the National League in earned run average. He also was the top man in the league as far as his percentage was concerned with that 26-8 record. And he'll be facing a lineup today that is somewhat changed from yesterday for the Twins. At shortstop, it will be Zoilo Versalles, the batting star for the Twins yesterday with 4 runs batted in. But in center field will be right-handed batting Joe Nossick, a first-year player for the Twins. The right fielder will again be left-handed batting Tony Oliva. The third baseman and cleanup batter will be Harmon Killebrew. The Twins catcher will bat in the 5 spot today, Earl Batty. A change in left field. Yesterday it was Sandy Valdespino. Today it will be right-handed batting, power-hitting Bob Allison. The first baseman will be batting today in the number 7 spot, Don Mincher. Rookie Frank Quillisi, who collected 2 hits in yesterday's big 3rd inning for the Twins, will be at second base and bat 8, and the pitcher will be Jim Kaat. And by golly, a light drizzle starts to fall again. So perhaps it's going to be one of those days where it'll rain a little bit and then stop for a while. As the infield remains covered, it is my pleasure now to bring in the broadcaster, the voice of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and Vin Scully. As a sort of unofficial representative of the Twins, I apologize profusely for what has happened here as far as the weather's concerned.
Well, what's that song about a little rain in every life? Thank you, Ray, and hi, everybody. The lights are being turned on here at Metropolitan Stadium, and it is as if everybody in the ballpark trying desperately to ignore the weather. The pitchers are warming up. The umpires have already gone to the dressing room to get the game balls, and in a few minutes, apparently, they're just going to start in the rain. These are the men who will lead it off for the Dodgers. In the number 1 spot, the captain and shortstop, Maury Wills. Hitting second, Jim Gilliam. In the 3rd spot, Willie Davis. In the cleanup spot against left-handers is the right-hand hitting left fielder, Lou Johnson. Ron Fairley, a left-hand batter, drops to the number 5 spot against Kaat. And then switch hitter Jimmy Lefebvre at second base. Switch hitter Wes Parker at first base, hitting 7th. John Roseborough, the veteran, will be behind the plate. And Sandy Koufax on the mound. One of the things, and one pressure spot in this game today, all of the outfielders particularly will have a lot of problems not only on going after balls, but they know, both clubs having fine speed, the outfielders will not only have to charge base hits, which will slow up on the grass, but they will be picking up a wet ball to get back to the infield. And you can bet fellas like Zoilo Versalles and Maury Wills and some of the other speedsters on both clubs will try to dare some of the outfielders, and we should have a little bit of a wide-open game as far as the hitters challenging the outfielders' arms. Well, maybe Sandy Koufax and Jim Kaat can pitch in the rain, but apparently the governor of Minnesota is not going to try, because we just get the report that Governor Carl F. Rolbog, the governor of the state of Minnesota, will not throw out the first ball. Yeah, we still have the light rain, but the ground crew rolling off the tarp. The infield itself is in good condition. It's been covered. As Ray pointed out to you, it began to rain about 1 hour after yesterday's game. So the skin part is dry. The treacherous areas will be on the warning track, and certainly for catchers going after foul balls and any infielder going over to the track, it'll be wet and slippery going. So the pitchers are warming up, and the 6 umpires are meeting at a home plate, along with Captain Maury Wills and manager Sam Mealy. Sam Mealy is still awaiting news from Quincy, Massachusetts, where his wife is expecting the arrival of their child any moment, so we understand. And the Dodgers kept a date with the Stork. Left-hand pitcher Jim Brewer of the Dodgers received the happy news that his wife presented him with a bouncing baby girl in Tulsa, Oklahoma today. Those umpires, the plate umpire from the National League, Tony Benson. At first, from the American League, John Flaherty. At second, from the National League, Ed Sudol. And at third, a switch, at least according to the names up on the board. From what we had gathered yesterday, the third base umpire would be Bob Stewart. And then the line umpires would be Ed Hurley at left and Ed Vargo at right. so we had better wait a moment and check third base to be sure. Tomorrow is a travel day, the third game of this 1965 World Series, scheduled for Dodger Stadium on Saturday. And it will be left-hander Claude Osteen for the Dodgers, right-hander Camilo Pascual for Minnesota. Wills takes a Twins lineup back to the Dodger dugout. Sam Mealy brings a Dodger lineup over to his dugout, and the Minnesota Twins take the field. Setting Minnesota defensively at first base, yesterday's home run hitter, Don Mincher. At second, Frank Quillisi. At shortstop, the star, Zoilo Versalles. And at third, Harmon Killebrew. In the outfield against Koufax, Bob Allison in left, Joe Nozick in center, and Tony Oliva in right. Behind the plate, Earl Batty. And on the mound, left-hander Jim Kaat with a record of 18-11. Danny Ozark coaching at first for the Dodgers. Over at third, Preston Gomez. Jim Kaat, mainstay for the Twins, made 42 starts last year, completed 7. He had 2 shutouts and appeared 3 times in relief. He led the league in those 42 starts, equaled his top previous win total, and enjoyed his best percentage of the year. In 1962, he won 18. In 1964, he won 17.
A little while ago, we asked Jim Kaat his feelings on facing the Dodgers, and in particular, since his mound opponent would be Sandy Koufax.
I feel that I've got to pitch my own ball game against the Dodger hitters and not worry about who's pitching against me. We have a pretty good hitting ball club ourselves, and I think he has all that he wants to worry about, and I think that if I can hold the Dodgers down to 1 or 2 runs, well, we're going to score some off from him.
So Maury Wills will lead it off, followed by Jim Gilliam and Willie Davis. Jim Kaat is an exceptionally fine fielding pitcher. A strike. Killebrew up inside the bag at third. Mincher about even with the bag at first. And Quillisi is halfway up at second base. Fly ball to right field. Oliva almost in his tracks. 1 away. Jim Gilliam coming up. Gilliam went 1 for 5 yesterday. Fastball hit in the air into shallow right center. Nozick had a late start, almost slipped, but he's still there. As he started to get a jump on the ball, his right foot went out from under him in the wet grass. 2 out, Willie Davis the batter. Willie yesterday went 1 for 4. He lined out twice to Tony Oliva in right field, and on one of the plays, Tony made a fine leaping catch. Big curve. 0-1. Check swing, strike 2. Little tapper wide of first to Mincher. He underhands to Kaat. The Dodgers are out in order in the score at the end of the first half of the first inning. The Dodgers nothing, and the Twins coming up. Let's take a look at the Dodgers defensively now. There's Wes Parker at first. Jim Lefevre at second. Captain Maury Wills at short. Jim Gilliam at third. Lou Johnson in left. Willie Davis in center. Ron Fairley in right. Johnny Roseboro behind the plate. And Sandy Koufax on the mound. 26-game winner. He's had 3 World Series decisions. Jim Lemon coaching at first. And Billy Martin over at third.
I asked Zoilo Versalles how he thought Koufax would pitch to him and his experience yesterday in facing Drysdale.
I think Mike Koufax threw me today on the first pitch. I'm going to guess for a curve. And yesterday, pitch tried to struck me out, I should say, with a fast ball around the letter. But the second time that he threw me was a fast ball, but just was by 5 inches down the letter. And I got a good piece of wood out of it, and I was lucky to hit the ballpark out of the park.
Well, Zoilo was guessing correctly. Koufax curved him with the first pitch, but it was very high. Ball 1. Another curve, strike, 1-1. Sandy's equipment, fastball, curveball, and a forkball, which he started to work with early this year. Fastball, fouled out of the way. 1-2. The name Koufax, of course, is now synonymous with strikeouts. Against the Yankees in 1963, he set a World Series record. He struck out the first 5 batters he faced. That was the game in which he set a World Series record of 15 strikeouts. And in his 2 appearances against the Yankees, he set a record of 23 strikeouts in one series. Fly ball into shallow right. Lefevre out, fairly in. It's fairly. 1 away. Here is Joe Nozick. Nozick had 2 home runs during the regular season. Alternating with Jimmy Hall in center. Gilliam plays him about even with the bag. High fly ball to left field. Johnson goes back, still on the grass, now on the track, and makes the catch. Well, we asked Sandy Koufax about his philosophy and what the World Series means to him after a tough pennant race. Here's what he said.
We've had a good year, the Dodgers, and sometimes it's hard to feel like when you come through a tough race that you're really up for it. But I think everybody in our ball club wants to and is trying very hard to win the World Series. No matter how good a year you've had, you feel like it's not complete until you've done a good job in the series.
2 out in the first inning, and here's the great Tony Oliva. Oliva, oddly enough, with all of the base hits, 10 and the 8 runs scored yesterday, his big bat was quiet, and in a sense that is comforting to the Twins. Curveball, hit back to Koufax. That'll do it. The Twins are out in order, and the score at the end of 1 inning of play. The Dodgers nothing, the Twins nothing. Second inning, no score in the ball game, and this 1965 World Series game is being brought to you live and in color, exclusively on NBC.
For the Dodgers, batting fourth, number 41, left fielder, Lou Johnson.
Second inning, Lou Johnson, Ron Fairley, and Jim Lefevre against Jim Kaat. Johnson went 1 for 4 yesterday. Good breaking ball, 0-1. Bouncer foul outside of third down the line, 0-2. Fastball, down he goes. So Jim Kaat gave him a good fastball up and away, and Johnson went down swinging.
Right fielder, Ron Fairley.
Big bouncer up along first base, fair ball, Mincher to Kaat. 2 down. The switch hitter, Jim Lefevre, come up to hit right-handed. Fastball hit over the mound, charging it is second baseman Quillisi to throw him out. And the Dodgers are out in order, and the score at the end of an inning and a half. The Dodgers nothing, the Twins nothing. Metropolitan Stadium, the scene of the 1965 World Series. Plate umpire Tony Venzen went out to the mound for a moment just to inspect it and to make sure it was still pitchable. And Armin Killebrew, Earl Batty, and Bob Allison in out order. Bottom of the second, no score. Killebrew went 1 for 3 yesterday, a base hit. Dodgers play him deep and to pull. Curve missed. Ball 1. Curve is over. 1-1. Fastball missed. 2-1. Fastball and a towering fly ball into left center. Willie Davis and Lou Johnson, and it's Lou Johnson. 1 away. That'll bring up catcher Earl Batty. Batty had a base hit to drive in a run yesterday, wearing the protective helmet. On the corner with the fastball. 0-1. Same spot. Strike 2. 2 fastballs on the corner, knee high. 0-2 to Batty. Curveball in the dirt. Strike 3. Dropped by Roseboro. He tagged him. So Koufax records the first strikeout today for his side after Jim Kaat had struck out Lou Johnson. And Bob Allison, the batter. Big Bob had 23 home runs, 78 RBIs. He can rip. One ball and no strikes. Benson put a new ball in play. Sandy sheepishly laughing about that pitch. It hit about 3 feet in front of the plate. Curveball for a strike. 1-1. High foul off third. Gilliam comes over to the temporary boxes, but no play. Curve in the dirt. 2-2. Breaking ball high. 3-2. In there. Strike 3 call. So the Twins are out in order, and the score at the end of 2 innings of play. Dodgers nothing, Twins nothing. A reminder, Mickey Rooney guest stars in a powerful drama next Wednesday evening when Bob Hope presents the Chrysler Theater in color at 9, 8 Central Time on NBC. Third inning, no score in the ball game. Wes Parker, Johnny Roseboro, Sandy Koufax. Outside with the fastball, and we have our first base runner. A walk to Wes Parker, and the batter will be Johnny Roseboro. Slice to left field. Allison started in, goes back, and makes the catch. And Parker returns to first. 1 away, and Sandy Koufax coming out. Sandy enjoyed a fine season with the bat. He had 20 hits. Takes ball 1. Jim Kaat, in his delivery to the plate while holding a runner on at first base, has what you could call a pitcher's hitch. He kind of bounces his hands in front of his body while ready to pitch to the plate, and it's that hitch that might help the base runner. There he's set. Bouncer hits slowly down to Quillisi. He looks at second, has to go to first. So Koufax moves Parker over a notch as he grounds out second to first. 2 down, and Maury Wills will be the batter. He'll also consume a little time to allow Koufax to get back to the dugout. Hit in the air to right field. Oliva goes back a little. That'll do it. No runs, no hits, a man left. And the score at the end of 2.5 innings of play, the Dodgers nothing, the Twins nothing. We were talking before about the mound at Metropolitan Stadium. It was bothering Koufax, and it apparently bothered Kaat a little bit more, as the rain and the spike marks complicated matters. And so 2 members of the ground crew have apparently sprinkled either topsoil or sand out there to try and give the pitcher a dry surface, something to push off. Koufax in 2 innings with 2 strikeouts. He has averaged at least a strikeout per inning in his career. For the Minnesota Twins, Don Mincher, Frank Quillisi, and pitcher Jim Kaat. And by the way, Jim Kaat's a pretty good hitting pitcher. Don Mincher got a high breaking ball early in yesterday's game and hit a tremendous shot into the right field seats to tie it up. He also walked, and Ron Fairley took an extra base hit away from him. So he hit the ball hard yesterday. Curve, a strike, 0-1. Curve fouled off third, down the line, out of play, 1-2. 2-2. Ball 3. Fastball way out. Over, strike 3 called. So Mincher becomes the third consecutive batter to strike out against Koufax. As we mentioned in the opening remarks, in the first game against the Yankees in 1963, he set a World Series record for striking out the first 5 batters. Here's Frank Quillisi. Played a great game at second base yesterday and had a double and a single in the third inning. Full count. Fastball high. Here is a good hitting pitcher, Jim Kaat. Presenting his credentials, he has a home run and 9 RBIs during the regular season, a .247 average, occasionally used as a pinch hitter, and among other things, he likes to bunt for a base hit. So with 1 out and Quillisi at first base, a wet infield, we'll see what he does. Quillisi goes. It's swung on and missed. Roseboro to Wills. They get him. So Quillisi nailed at second base from Johnny Roseboro to Maury Wills, 2-6. We're going to take another look at that. Change signals. We'll take a look when he steals one. That'll do it. Breaking ball, strike 3. 4th strikeout for Koufax. No runs, no hits, no errors. Score at the end of 3. Dodgers nothing, Twins nothing. We'll pause now for station identification.
This is the CBC Television Network.
4th inning, no score. Jim Gilliam, Willie Davis, Lou Johnson. Hit in the air to right field. Oliva, who was busy yesterday, is busy today. Tony tied a World Series record for putouts in right field yesterday, and he has 3 so far today. Here's Willie Davis, and we were wondering about how it felt to hit against left-handers in the World Series or at any time, and here's what Willie said.
I faced a lot of left-handers in my time. This guy I know is a real good pitcher, and he gets the ball over, and they say he has good control, but when I'm swinging good, I don't care whether I'm hitting against a right-hander or a left-hander. It doesn't really make that much difference.
0-1, breaking ball on the corner. Killebrew in on the grass. Soft curve, hit to Mincher. Don underhands to Kaat. 2 out. We don't have a hit in the game. There have been 2 base runners. Koufax has walked Quillisi, and Kaat walked Parker. Lou Johnson struck out in the second inning, 0-for-1. Fastball hit to dead center, and Nossick has to go and get it to the track. He's got it. That's about 415 to 20 feet away. Dodgers out in order, and the score at the end of 3.5 innings of play. Dodgers nothing, Twins nothing. Bottom of the 4th inning, no score in the ball game, and quite a game it is. He mentioned earlier he expected to be curved the first pitch by Koufax, and he was. Now we'll see about the second time around. Fastball, foul back. Letter high fastball. 0-2 to Zoilo. High fastball hit out foul, way down the line. Breaking ball high. Curveball, and he got it down and over. 5 strikeouts for Koufax. 1 out, and here is Joe Nossick, who made the Major League outfielders play on the drive by Lou Johnson. He really had to go to get it, and he had to run on that wet grass and then the wet, muddy track, and he did it all well. 2-2, Joe Nossick. Curveball, line to center, base hit. There's the first hit of the game. So Joe Nossick singles on the curveball with 1 out in the 4th inning, the only hit. And here is Tony Oliva. I mean, that was reducing the game to its fundamentals. He threw as hard as he could, and he swung as hard as he could. 0-1. Fastball, strike 2. Fastball got him. So Oliva becomes strikeout number 6 for Koufax. And that brings up Harmon Killebrew. Fastball, left into left field, base hit. Nossick to second, makes a turn, stumbles, then goes on. Johnson bobbled the ball, and he's into third, and down to second goes Killebrew. It'll be a base hit on an error charged to Lou Johnson. And not to make ourselves look good, but remember earlier we were talking about the rain and the problems the outfielders are going to have on picking up a wet ball. And the fact that base runners would put pressure on the outfielders. And Nossick made a big turn to put pressure on Johnson, and Lou appeared to look up to see where the runner was, and then the wet ball just slipped away from him. And their runners at second and third, 2 out, no score in the 4th. Earl Batty with first base open, and they will pitch to him with Bob Allison on deck. Fastball hit backer first in foul ground. Parker to the box seat railing and makes the catch for the out. For the Twins in the 4th, no runs, 2 hits, an error, 2 men left. And the score at the end of 4 innings of play. The Dodgers nothing, the Twins nothing. 5th inning, no score in the ball game. How does it feel to play in the World Series? We asked Ron Fairley.
I think it was certainly a pleasure being in a World Series, and I'd have to say that my first World Series hit was a home run, and it was certainly a thrill in my life. Although in 1959, we were beaten by the Chicago White Sox, I believe something like 11-0, so I know that the fellas are not discouraged at all.
Curveball hit into right field. So there's the first hit for the Dodgers. Fairley at first. Jim Lefevre grounded out in the 2nd inning to Frank Quillisi. Fairley is not a base-running threat at first. Ron stole 2 bases during the year. Ball 1. Walter Alston feels that Jim Lefevre is the best bunter on the team. He was around to bunt that time. Killebrew tight to the bag at third. Mincher holding Fairley at first. Line drive down the left field line and hooking from Allison, who dives, makes a circus catch. Oh, what a play by Allison. Fairley back to first. A tremendous play by the Minnesota left fielder. We just got to look at that one again. Here it is coming out. And remember, he's running on wet grass and also a muddy, wet warning track. Watch him slide. Great play. So we've come up with a defensive gem in the series, credited to Bob Allison, and the batter is Wes Parker. Fastball hit slowly, and Mincher hesitated, and it goes off his glove, and everybody's safe. Don Mincher, the first baseman, I believe, thought Kaat was going to make a leaping catch of it, hesitated, and by the time he went over, it was off his glove. Even had Mincher come up with the ball cleanly, he was going away from his play, and in the judgment of the official scorers, there are 3 of them, it's a base hit. Here's Roseborough, flied to left in the 3rd inning. foul off third. Killebrew coming over on the muddy track. Leans in and back to him. Nice play by Harmon. The Roseboro fouls out to Harmon Killebrew, and he had to fight his way to that ball through the wet grass and the muddy track. And here's Sandy Koufax. High pop foul off first base. Minshew coming over. He'll hit the muddy track. Makes the catch. For the Dodgers, no runs, 2 hits, and 2 left. And the score at the end of 4.5 innings of play. Dodgers nothing, Minnesota nothing. The second half of today's World Series game is brought to you by the Gillette Safety Razor Company. In direct contrast to yesterday, as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, we got a ball game today. Minnesota nothing, the Dodgers nothing. And now to pick up for the play-by-play, the voice of the Minnesota Twins. Here's Ray Scott.
Thank you, Vin Scully. Hi again, everybody. And how many times it happens a man makes the great fielding play, and here he is to bat. Bob Allison, a strikeout victim in the 2nd inning. One of 6 strikeout victims of the Dodgers' Sandy Koufax. He fouls the change curve for strike 1. Fastball, strike called 0-2. Fastball away from him, ball 1, strike 2. Fastball fouled back, no change in the count. Change outside third foul, and it's still 1-2. Oh, inside, 2-2. Strikeout. Roseboro will tag him out. 7 strikeouts for Koufax. Here's Don Mincher, strikeout victim in the 3rd inning. Base hit to left center field. Lou Johnson with the ball. Hit number 3 off Koufax. Frank Quillisi walked in the 3rd inning. Little pop-up. Second baseman Jim Lefevre grabs it, 2 down.
Number 36.
And applause begins to build as Jim Kaat comes striding to the plate. Call out on strikes in the 3rd inning. Strikeout number 8 for Koufax. The Twins are out and leave 1 on. At the end of the 5th inning, the score, the Dodgers nothing and the Twins nothing.
Here is a special report from NBC News.
As that special news report was presented, Maury Wills bounced a base hit over third, and for the first time in this World Series, Wills is on base to lead off an inning. Now let's watch how the Twins handle this premier base stealer. Strike. Earl Batty was asked about what do you do about Amari Wills when he's a base runner?
Well, I guess by now everyone in baseball knows that Maury Will likes to run, and he will be running in the series if he gets on. So I imagine our only plan of attack will be to try and keep him off of first base.
There he goes. Killebrew out at first, and Wills is at second. So Wills breaking. Gilliam is out. Killebrew to Mincher. But Wills is on second with 1 away in this scoreless game, top half of the 6th. The batter will be Willie Davis. Twice has been thrown out Mincher to Kaat. Popped up. Killebrew coming toward the plate. 2 down. With first base open and a left-handed batter on deck, you can be reasonably certain that Kaat will be very careful with Johnson. Runner going. Little nubber to Mincher. The side is out. At the end of 5.5 innings, the score is the Dodgers nothing and the Twins nothing. The scene is Metropolitan Stadium at Bloomington, Minnesota. There is no score. The Twins are coming to bat in the 6th inning. And just as the Dodgers had the top of the order up in their half, so it is with the Twins. Versailles, Nossig, and Oliva. Versailles has flied to right and struck out. Koufax, the #1 strikeout pitcher of all time, based on strikeouts in a season, has already whiffed 8. The series will resume from Dodger Stadium on Saturday afternoon. 3:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Off the third baseman, Gilliam. Versailles streaking for second. Lou Johnson with the ball. A wicked hopping ball that Gilliam could not hold. It is nonetheless charged as an error to the Dodger third baseman. It's the Dodgers' second error of today. The batter is Nossig. A fly ball to left in the first, a solid single to center in the 4th. Gilliam is in a step at third. Parker is even with first. To first, out there, Versailles is at third with one away. A huddle at the mound as Tony Oliva comes to the plate. This Sunday, NBC will telecast one of the top American Football League games of the year when the San Diego Chargers meet the Buffalo Bills at Buffalo. That's at 1 Eastern Time, 12 Central Time, live and in color, exclusively on NBC. The Dodgers have been able to handle Oliva in this series. Today, he is tapped weakly back to the mound and struck out. Yesterday, he was hitless in 4 at-bats. Twice hit the ball to the outfield. The Dodger infield is at the edge of the grass. High, ball 1. Versailles at third. Strike, 1-1. The American League batting champion, Oliva. The game's top winning pitcher, Sandy Koufax. At this point, it's no longer a meeting of statistics. Strike 2. 2-2. Oliva is not necessarily a bad ball hitter, but he has his own idea as to his own strike zone. Going to try for 2, safe. The Twins break through and lead 1-0. The batter is Killebrew. A fly ball to left in the second, and a single to left in the 4th. Oliva has his first World Series hit and RBI. Base hit. Oliva waved around third. It is 2-0. 5 hits off Koufax. And with 1 out, the batter is Batty. He struck out in the second, fouled out in the fourth. Base hit. Manager Walter Alston is coming out. Killebrew and Batty both going after first pitches from Koufax. Catcher John Roseborough. Second baseman Jim Lefevre. And Koufax huddling with Alston. An error, and after a sacrifice, consecutive hits by Oliva, Killebrew, and Batty. It is 2-0. The Dodger skipper heads for the dugout. The batter is Allison. He has struck out twice, looking in the second and swinging in the fifth. And the Dodger bullpen is active. Killebrew on second, Batty on first, 1 out. Strike. Foul. In the dirt, blocked out by Roseborough. A ball and 2 strikes. Strike 3. Allison becomes Koufax's 9th strikeout victim. Here is Mincher, called out on strikes and singles. The Twins lead 2-0. This is the last of the 6th. 2 out, runners first and second. To Koufax, and the Twins are out. 2 men are left. And at the end of the 6th inning, the score is Minnesota 2 and Los Angeles 0. We pause now for station identification.
This is the CBC Television Network.
A very interested onlooker and attending his last World Series in an official capacity is Commissioner Ford Frick. He is seated in one of the field boxes by the Minnesota dugout. In the 7th inning for the Dodgers, Ron Fairley, Jim Lefevre, and Wes Parker. The Twins have 2 runs, 6 hits. The Dodgers, no runs and 3 hits. And the only errors in the game, 2 by the Dodgers. American League President Joe Cronin came prepared. And to his right, Mrs. Cronin. In order to pass along information to the expanded press area for this World Series game at Metropolitan Stadium, additional loudspeakers have been placed just outside our television booth. Fly ball into left, Allison, base hit. So Fairley is 2 for 3. Hit number 4 off the Twins left-hander, and the batter is Lefevre. There is activity now for the first time today in the Twins bullpen. Lefevre has grounded out. There's a line drive base hit to left. Last time up, Allison robbed Lefevre of a base hit with a truly outstanding skidding catch of his line drive deep in the left field corner. And so the Dodgers, trailing 2-0, come after Kaat here in the 7th inning, and manager Sam Mealy of the Twins is making his first appearance. He is looking in the direction of the Twins bullpen beyond the right center field fence. The left-hander is Jim Merritt. The right-hander is Alan Worthington. Kaat, for the moment at least, will stay on. Ron Peronowski is working for the Dodgers. He appeared in yesterday's game. So the Dodgers have the first two men on in the seventh with no out. Here is Parker. Walked in the third, an infield hit in the fifth. Batty to Quillisi, and the runners move up. One away. Here is John Roseboro. He has flied to left and fouled out to third. Now the Twins have a decision to make. First base is open. The pitcher is due next. Manager Sam Mealy, of course, if he so elects, can force the hand of manager Walt Alston, with Koufax due to bat and in the on-deck circle right now. Base hit. The one-run scores. Roseboro is trying for second, and he is in there. It is 2-1. So the Dodgers break through, and with only one out, Sandy Koufax is being called back. And Don Drysdale is coming on. This might be, Vin Scully, the first time in the history of a World Series that the first game starting pitcher comes up to pinch hit for the second game starting pitcher.
It sounds that way. I know that Drysdale has pinch hit for Koufax in the past. Come to think of it, I guess he's pinch hit for just about every pitcher on the staff.
Drysdale had a regular season batting average of 300. And that's the best of the Dodgers. 7 home runs, 19 runs batted in. In yesterday's game, had an opportunity to bat only one time. He hit the ball hard, but grounded out short to first. The Twins now will have to bring up the infield. Strike one. Strike two. Kaat has recorded but one strikeout in this game. 2. And so with 2 out, the batter is Maury Wills. In the first and in the third, sent fly balls to right. In the sixth, bounced a base hit over Killebrew into left field. The Twins 2, the Dodgers 1. Now let's see how the Twins play the infield. Despite the fact that there are 2 outs, they must protect against the bunt. And so Mincher and Killebrew are up tight. Quillisi is more than halfway. Ball 1. Versailles back almost normal depth at short. Pop up. In shallow center, Joe Nasi. The Dodgers are out. 2 men are left. At the end of 6.5 innings to score. Minnesota 2, Los Angeles 1. Sandy Koufax went 6 innings, gave up 6 hits, 1 run, 1 run that was earned, 9 strikeouts, and 1 walk. Ron Peronowski takes over. He appeared in yesterday's game, worked 2 innings, gave up no hits. Although he walked 2, he didn't strike out anybody. Peronowski will face Quillisi, the 8 batter, the pitcher Kaat, and then Versailles. Frank Quillisi walked in the third and popped up in the 5th. Hard hit ground ball to Wills. 1 away. And now the pitcher, Jim Kaat, twice a strikeout victim.
Number 5702 will depart from deep 24.
Strikeout. The first for Peronowski and the 10th of the game for Dodger pitching. And with 2 out in the 7th, here is the Twin shortstop, Versailles. Versailles today 0 for 3, but scored the first run of the game. His grounder got by Gilliam at third for a two-base error. Eventually scored on Oliva's double to left. 1-1 on the called strike. Looking to the Dodger eighth inning, the 2, 3, and 4 batters are scheduled. Gilliam, Davis, and Johnson. Near the right field line. Fairly chasing it in the corner. Versailles is going to try for 3. Triple. Hit number 7 for the Twins. The first off Perinoski. Versailles on the instant replay, and you can see his tremendous speed in going first to third. A 2-out triple in the last of the 7th, and the batter is Nossig. He's 1 for 2, and he sacrificed Versailles to third in the 6th inning. Versailles came way down the line. He's going to try and score. He scored. It would appear that Versailles, by coming halfway home, might have upset Perinoski to the extent that the Dodger left-hander is charged with a wild pitch. And it is 3-1, the Twins. Third baseman Gilliam. And the throw gets beyond the first baseman, and Nossig is at second. And the left fielder right now is moving to second. That's Lou Johnson. An error is charged to the third baseman, Gilliam. The batter is Tony Oliva. After going hitless yesterday in 4 at-bats, and in the first 2 at-bats today facing Koufax, he doubled to left to knock in Versailles with the first run of the game. That is the third Dodger error. Left fielder Lou Johnson. The Twins are out and leave 1 on and score a run. And so at the end of the 7th inning, the score is Minnesota 3 and Los Angeles 1.
Jim Gilliam has committed 2 errors today, but before the ball game, he had this to say.
This is my 6th World Series. It's always exciting to play in a World Series. We got shellacked pretty good yesterday, but that's one game. I think we'll be back.
Nossig, the center fielder, making the call and the catch. 1 out. Here now is the Dodgers center fielder, Willie Davis, hitless today in 3 at-bats. The lights were turned on before the game started, and now it's particularly bright because the sky is lighter as well. Mincher to Kaat. 2 down. The left fielder now, Lou Johnson, hitless in 3 at trips. Kaat today has limited the top 4 men in the order as of right now to just 1 hit. Wills, a base hit to left in the 6th inning. Second baseman Quillisi to Mincher. 1-2-3 in the 8th inning. And so at the end of 7.5 innings, the score. Minnesota 3 and Los Angeles 1. An enchanting dinner for 2 becomes a confusing dinner for 3 when Mona dates a Maharaja tonight on Mona McCluskey. Juliet Prowse stars at 9:30, 8:30 Central Time in color here on NBC. In the last of the 8th, before this huge throng at Metropolitan Stadium, a new stadium record crowd of 48,700, the Twins in the 8th will send up Harmon Killebrew, Earl Batty, and Bob Allison. Ball 4. The first walk off Perinoski, the second of the game off Dodger pitching. Here is Earl Batty, a single in 3 trips. Out on the little pop foul to the catcher Roseboro, 1 away. Here is Bob Allison. 3 times today, a strikeout victim. Killebrew leading at first. In the right center field. Killebrew going for third. And Allison at second with a double. Hit number 8 for the Twins. The second off Perinoski. And the batter is Mincher. A single in 3 at-bats. Killebrew is hung up between home plate and third. He's tagged out, and Allison has to hold at second. So with 2 out, there are runners at first and second. For a moment, it appeared there might be a collision between the shortstop, Wills, and the base runner at second, Allison. Here's the way it looks by way of the instant replay as Roseboro gets the put out and then falls victim to the slippery turf. Frank Quillisi is the batter with Allison on second, Mincher on first, and 2 out in the last of the 8th. There is a balk as Perinoski came up on the rubber, forgetting for the moment that there were base runners aboard. He was starting into his windup. So Allison moves to third and Mincher to second. And they'll put Quillisi on with first base open and Kaat waiting to bat. A base hit to center. Allison scores. Mincher scores. And it is 5-1. Walter Alston is walking to the mound and has already signaled that he wants to make a change as Jim Kaat knocks in 2 runs to make it 5-1. Miller in the regular season appeared in 61 games, compiled a 1-loss record of 6-7, worked 103 innings and allowed but 81 hits, and a 2.97 earned run average. 5-1, the Twins lead in the bottom of the 8th. Miller comes into a situation with 2 out, 2 on, and 2 runs already across. In the American League, the pitcher must take the sign on the rubber. Not so in the National League, and in the World Series, the league custom prevails. There's shallow center. And a fine catch by Willie Davis. He lost his hat but made the catch. The Twins are out, having scored twice and leave 2 men on. So at the end of the 8th inning, the score is Minnesota 5 and Los Angeles 1. We move to the top of the 9th. For the Dodgers, Ron Fairley is the first man up. But right now, the tremendous speed of Willie Davis on our instant replay as he made that inning-ending catch in the bottom of the 8th. Jim Kaat has allowed 6 hits. He has struck out 2. Strike 2. This overwhelmingly twin-oriented crowd cheering Kaat on, of course, in this stage of the game, with the Twins leading 5-1 in the 9th. Strikeout number 3. Kaat now has retired 6 in a row. And with 1 out in the 9th inning, the batter is Jim Lefevre. Base hit into left. So for the Dodgers, with 1 away in the 9th inning, Lefevre comes up with a base hit, and here is Parker. He's had just 1 official at bat, Parker, and came up with an infield hit. He had walked in the 3rd and sacrificed in the 7th. Dodger runner, first baseman Mincher. Ball 1 is low. Oh, he's hit with a pitch. Low inside delivery hits Parker, and the Dodgers suddenly have 2 on with only 1 out. And the batter is Roseboro. Mincher will take the sure out. 2 away as the runners move up. The pitcher was in the on-deck circle, but manager Walt Alston now must go to his bench. Dick Krasuski comes to the plate. Twins outfield is straight away. Krasuski choking up on the bat a couple of inches. Lefty Jim Kaat. Strike 2. Jim Kaat looks down, and the ball was there. And the Twins have made it 2 in a row. Jim Kaat receiving congratulations from his teammates, manager Sam Neely, the first out of the dugout to greet him, as the Twins will take a 2-0 advantage to Los Angeles, and the 3rd game of the series, which will be in Los Angeles at Dodger Stadium on Saturday afternoon. So Kaat goes all the way as he bests Sandy Koufax, Ron Peronowski, and Bob Miller. The final score, the Minnesota Twins, 5 runs, 9 hits, and no errors. The Los Angeles Dodgers, 1 run, 7 hits, and 3 errors.
Bob Allison made a sensational catch on Jim Lefevre's drive down the left field line in the 5th inning of the 2nd game for the key play in a 5-1 victory by Jim Kaat over Sandy Koufax. It gave the Twins a 2-0 lead as the World Series shifted to Los Angeles.